Hello everyone. Am I audible? Visible?
Yeah, you are
I
audible.
admit, yes.
Am I
How are
audible?
you guys? Yeah, you are audible, audible.
Okay, thanks.
Let me set up my things. So how is it going? What's happening?
Yeah, Amit. Actually, I just started looking into the this one. Sorry, I was a little late when I started with the latest assignment, whatever you have given, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just started. Actually, I had a one or two doubts actually in that.
Yeah.
So this SSH server, right?
Uh-huh.
So like with a very basic kind of an authentication is a username and password. Although they don't recommend
Mm-hmm.
it, you
Mm-hmm.
usually has to kind of a token and all those things and all.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but if we give a username and password also, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a one thing. See, this username and password is you can think kind of an atomic kind of thing, right? The both should be there. So, but in socket when we send it, right, we have to
Mm-hmm.
send with a two request, or otherwise it should be separated by a space in a single request. Is
Yeah.
there anything other than that? We can actually pass a structure or something. I think we may have to serialize or some Google protocol buffer or something we can use. Other than
Mm-hmm.
that, whether in the raw thing we can use that. Other than this one, I need
No,
a
either
yeah.
you have to have some kind of protocol, the understanding between your client and a server that I'll be sending like this. You need to process it like this, like some kind of delimiter that you are saying, some space or anything. Or if you want to directly go with the binary data, like you are saying, no, so suppose the structure has password and then the suppose username, then you have to on the other side also you'll have to know, okay, the my first 32 bits or something like that will be my password, or maybe the first thing will say ki how much is the length of the username, then the second will say how much is the length, and then you send the username and password. So some understanding is required between your client and a server, otherwise there is no way to know. That's why protocol comes into existence,
Okay.
because you
And
have to know.
yes, that is right. And I have a one more thing in that
Hmm.
same, the one more query. So, just tell me, actually, in a real, and
So your voice is, I'm losing your voice. Is it me or everyone is losing?
No, I think he's cracking up a bit.
Yeah. So I have to completely lost him now. Okay, what about others? Yeah, did you try anything, done anything?
I'm still going through I'm following the document that I've put up. So I
Hmm.
did the
Hmm.
forever running TCP server and so on, but I'm yet
Hmm.
to do equal. So,
Hmm.
but
Okay.
I think this
Okay.
weekend, yeah, I'll get to it then. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I'll be sharing the invitation tomorrow.
So your voice is not clear. Yeah. So okay. So let's start with the class today. So we'll begin with the class. First, I will tell you what we'll be doing today. So whatever we have done till the last weekend. So we actually saw how the EPOL was helping in our creating the more scalable servers, right? And from today, we'll build on top of that. We'll try to build how to build web servers, right? And when I say web servers, means our clients and servers will be talking in HTTP protocols, right? So that will be the agenda for today, and most probably tomorrow, if we can close the HTTP today, tomorrow we might look into some other protocols, how we can build on top of our TCP server, other protocols also. Before that, does anyone want to? I think Rama has done something. Do you want to, Rama? Do you want to? Is Rama here?
Hi,
Do you
Amit.
want to show your protocol, but whatever the project you have done? I would like to see. Like some others people can also see.
Okay, Amit. Just give me
Is
two
it?
minutes. I'll log into the remote machine.
Yeah. Whenever you are ready. So,
Okay.
okay. So we'll see what she has done. She might be able to explain. So it might motivate others to do the project. And so before we go into the creating the HTTP server, first thing we need to understand is like everyone is clear with how simple request and response is going, right? Like how simple text we can send it to the other end, how the response can come back to the client. Is if that is clear, then HTTP protocol will be very clear, right? If that is not clear, then I think you might need to go back to the videos that we have already done, because now will be building on top of what we have already done. So it's more like if you see how we have been doing in our classes, no, the first week we did what we did, the CMake, like how to create and build the complex projects. Then we understood HTL. Then we understood multi-threading properly. Then we started with simple networking, send hi, send hello, like that. And then we started building on top of that. And then we came to EPOL. And now, once the TCP server is done, on top of TCP server, we'll be writing our own business logic to create HTTP protocols and all, right? So this is how
Amit,
we are.
I wanted to chip in one quick question actually, just out of curiosity. Since we are going to be talking about HTTP, if the server is on one version, let's say version 1 of HTTP, and client browser expects 1.1, so I'm just puzzled or curious to know how that will work.
Yeah, so suppose your server is only accepting, suppose your server is built for 1.1, suppose, and your client is sending request in terms of like said HTTP 2.0, right? So your server will just say ki I will not be able to send because the server there is a version mismatch. You will not get the response. They have to comply to a same version, right?
Yeah, but then what about the other way? That like the
Hmm.
server is the latest one. The client is the older one.
Hmm. Again, it will create problem. If server can support both, then it's fine. But if server
Ah,
is saying that I am only able to support 2.0 and the client is sending only in 1.1 protocol, then again mismatch. You will not get the response properly.
okay, I understood.
Hmm.
Maybe like with some servers may communicate because they have some internal mapping or understanding.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
if I'm 2.0, I
Hmm.
also understand the 1.1, and they have
Correct.
sent. If if such a thing already is there, then it's okay. Otherwise, it may not work, right? Depending
Hmm.
upon
So
how
it can
server is
also be.
implemented.
Yes, it can also be like that. So in between the actual servers, they might keep a load balancer kind of a thing. So suppose the request comes first to the load balancer, and then it will recognize, oh, it is for HTTP 1.1, then it might connect you to the HTTP 1.1 wala server who is serving. Then if it is 2.0, it might connect you to the 2.0 wala server who is serving. So it can also be like that. But yeah, on one system also they can be like, okay, if HTTP 1.1 has come, then go through this particular line or this particular logic, right? It can also be like that.
Yeah, that is great. Amit, I had a one
Mm,
question in that. Yeah,
mm,
somewhere between my connection has been lost. No,
mm,
what I mean to say is when we have that means okay, SSH server, right? The first is the
mm,
authentication, then
mm,
then start the request,
mm,
right? So if this SSH authentication actually this is also part of an SSH protocol, or there is a somebody who authenticates when that is there, then it will start. My question is when this accept is
mm.
hit on the server, is it like once that authentication is done then the accept will hit, or even those authentication, that is username and password, are also some okay part of a request only
So
usually?
first thing that if you want to really look into what SSH is, you might have to go into what they are telling on the SSH protocol, whether they want to do it without authentication or whether authentication itself is a part of SSH, right? But what I know is SSH inside SSH, because if you know that full form of it is secure socket shell, right? So maybe from
Yes.
the protocol itself, they are telling it should be a secure socket. So authentication might be a part of it. But you can look into the RFC document of SSH protocol. Okay, Rama, are you sharing the screen or should I start?
I'm
Uh,
ready. But I can do.
Yeah.
Amit, just one question. Do they use these digital certificates for SSH?
Digital certificate, that is, I don't think they do. They are mostly doing it through PEM file and all. No?
Pen file. Okay.
HTTPS they do through CA certificates and all.
HTTPS. Yeah, sorry. HTTPS they do through CA. Yeah, got it.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Rama, you can go ahead and share the screen.
Okay, Amit. So I will just first showcase the server and followed by client.
Okay.
I exactly followed the steps given in the PDF document shared by Amit. I started
Mhm.
right from the single threaded server model, and then I eventually evolved it into the non-blocking async IO server. Um, so the
Let's
only
let's
thing is
first
that
let's first see the communication happening. Then we'll see how you have written if it is running.
okay. So I just started my server. So my server is now running,
So is it
and
on
I
your system or is it a different system you are running?
so this is in Google Cloud.
Okay.
So
And
I
your
just
system
taken
is
one
Linux or
component.
Windows?
My system is Windows.
Okay.
So as you have given the steps to connect to the remote via the Visual Studio, I had followed the steps and connected to the remote Linux machine.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
let us have this terminal as the server. My server program is running,
Mm-hmm.
and so these two terminals are for clients,
Mm-hmm.
and my client is also a Linux program, and it is also connecting to the server in the local host. I have not
Mm.
yet made this client a Windows program. Otherwise, we could just run it as a normal PuTTY.
So these
And
two clients are also on a Linux machine.
yes,
And
on the
this is
same
also
Linux machine.
the same Linux machine only. Acha.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I just logged in as a user, and right now I'm just going ahead with a default one user static username.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually have a plan of adding open SSH library to do the actual SSH authentication and SSH
Okay.
tunneling. So for now, I'm just starting with this. And
Mm-hmm.
once the user is authenticated, and the server will be prompting for the client to enter commands,
Mm-hmm.
and the client program will be just printing this, and the user can give in the command, and then immediately the command will be sent to the server, and the server will be executing the command, and it will be giving the response,
Hmm.
and we're just seeing that ls.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm just going to give some other command. So let us just see what the process running in port
Hmm.
8080.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it is giving this is the response from the server. Like these things normally wouldn't appear, these two lines. This is just for um
We
like
are showing
our
the output. That's it.
yes.
Hmm.
And I mean we can just do some simple commands as of now, because if we have a very like processes like top or some other thing, that we need to have some outputs like screens, because that will be a ongoing process.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So right now I'm just giving simple commands and taking the results of the commands from the server.
Okay. Nice. Can I see on the server side what is happening? Have you done any print there?
Yes. So it is now receiving command and
Hmm.
executing command executed. So
Okay.
these are the things which are printed in the server.
But nice. Great. So what was the problem happening when you had two clients there trying to connect to the same
Yes.
server?
So this is my second client. Let us try to connect it to the
Hmm.
server.
Check the directory.
I'm already inside that directory.
Okay. Hmm.
So when the second client is trying to connect to the server will just hang for the second client, and it wouldn't take the input sent by the second client. So that is what
Okay.
is happening because it is being blocked, and I'm just doing that part now only. So I can post it, and because I'm first time doing this and I'm learning to debug also.
Nice, nice. Great. Okay, why it is blocking for the second client should be good to understand. Why it is blocking. Have you got any idea why it is blocking for the second client?
Not it, Amit. So
Okay.
what I'm trying to do is that I'm just trying to maintain an array. Actually, what I think is that I need to maintain an array of active clients, and I need
Mhm.
to prompt the client which is actually trying to connect the server for the username and the password.
Okay. But I'm just
Uh,
thinking why that thread will be blocked for a different. It's all on a multi-thread, right?
yes, it is on a multi-thread. Maybe I'm not correctly sending the
Hmm.
messages or
Hmm.
any something from the server program to the specific client socket
Okay.
ID.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Nice. You can post it on the GitHub. I think you have posted, no, the server code on the GitHub.
Yes, Amit, I had ported, but I knew that some things wouldn't work, so I have not posted that alone. Like whatever is working, I have posted so that anybody can use it as a correct reference.
ठीक है. Okay. Nice. Thank you.
Okay, and I
Thank you.
also
That
have
was really good. Yeah.
okay. And I also have another program like that uses traditional fork model that wouldn't have this problem when multiple clients are
Hmm.
trying to connect.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Uh,
said that.
Rama, I just had one question. What is in like what is where have you used like SSH? I mean, I'm just interested to know this. So there is a Bob a SSH folder. So is that where your SSH implementation?
Yes,
Like I guess there must
actually,
be
I
some
need to
handshake and stuff.
include Open SSH protocol. So to start it and to get the baseline correct, I have not started using those things,
Okay,
but
cool, cool, cool.
I'll be adding that in the future.
Yeah, yeah. This is super interesting. Yeah, great, great stuff.
Yeah. So if somebody
I mean,
wants to
if
look into
everybody
it,
is
you can check that
interested,
one.
you all can join in, and we all can take one feature and implement it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Fine. So let's move ahead. Rama, you can close your share. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Rama. That was good. Okay, I'll share my screen. Let me know if you can see the screen.
Yeah, we
Screen is
can see.
visible, right? Yeah. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll start from wherever we left. So this code, I have been trying to do the HTTP server in my weekdays this week. So I'll just show you where we left. So when we were doing, we had this TCP client and TCP server. Remember, different folders. Correct? Okay, so inside TCP client I will have my client ka socket connection and client ka logic, and inside TCP server I'll have the server logic, right? And inside the server I had made three different folders, which will be for Linux, Mac, and Windows, and these will contain the pretty specific code for Linux and similarly for Windows and Mac, right? And then there was this common file TCP server.cpp and TCP server.h that will contain that is something like a wrapper that will decide ki, okay, if it is Windows, then create a Windows server or server on the Windows, or depending on Linux, it will create that for the Linux. So if you can see here, the code was, if it is Windows, create the Win server. If it is Linux, create the Lin server. Or if it is Mac, it create the Mac server, right? So somebody who has to use it, I am trying to use it in these servers in one of the codes. So how I'll do it is server.cpp. I'll just say create server. It will create a TCP server for me. And where this create server will go, it will come here. And depending on where I have built, so if I have built it on Linux server, it will create new Linux server, and it will give me this Linux server ka object. Is this clear to everyone? This much, right? So now after this, what I'm trying to do, if I have got the object of the server properly, then I'm doing server initialize. and I'm giving the port number here. So inside it initialize, if I go and see, so now if I see, if you think if you are doing it on Linux, so it will go to the Linux ka initialize, right? Because the Linux instance would have been created. So Linux initialize, it is taking port and IP address. If I don't give IP address, it is because if you go here and see initialize, I have given the default value of 0.0, means you have to can listen to anywhere, right? So here what I'm doing, all those steps to create the socket. So I'm creating the socket. I'm setting this set socket option, which I have told in the last class that if you give this, your port will be freed, right? Then I'm creating a ePOL, which is FD of the ePOL I have created. These things are okay, right? These things we have done in the last class. I'm just refreshing it. So I'm creating this address family and all. I'm assigning the port. Then I'm doing a bind. Then I'm doing a listen on the SO max connection, right? And then leave this for right now. We'll talk about this later. And then once it is initialized, I'm returning true. So when it comes here, I'm returning true, and then I'm doing server start. I can also check if anything is problem. I can check if it has returned true, means then it can move ahead. Otherwise, I'll say okay, server is not started, right? And then after that, I'll say server start. So in start, what I'm doing again, I will go to Linux ka cpp start. Start to start. Yeah. Inside that, what I'm doing, remember, I am creating a separate thread for the equal weight. Remember, we can interact, like I will know, okay, everyone is understanding because I'm refreshing from the last class, right? So
Yeah.
we have created a separate thread for the equal weight. This one, if you go inside this function, you can see this is a ever running function while true, and we are waiting on equal weight, right? So this is the one. And then after that, what we are doing, basically a ever running loop for the except call. So that was ever running loop for the equal weight. This is the ever running loop for the except call. And what we are doing an except here. And the moment we get any client connection, we do it. It comes inside the client socket. We get a new socket for the particular client. We mark it as non-blocking, and then we put this client socket inside our ePOL using this API, right? And we are marking key whatever the event comes on this socket, whether it is in, out, error, and it is edge triggered, right? We remember we discussed about edge and level triggered. And then we are putting it in ePOL. So whenever any event that will come for this socket, like whether it is receive or any send or any error comes, this will come where. So now if you realize, after adding this will again move back to accept this particular thread, right? And whatever the socket that has been added for these particular events, where it will come in this ePOL loop, right? So suppose any particular socket, any receive came, right? So some clients send some data to the server, so it will actually come here. It will give you on how many sockets it will the events has come. So this particular event count. So I can loop on to this event count, and I'll check that event the which particular FD the data has come and which particular event has happened, whether it is an in event, whether it is an out event, or whether it is an error event. So depending on the event, I'm trying to call some function. So if it is in, I'm doing handle receive. If it is send, I'm doing send, and if it is error, I'm doing handle error. So suppose some client has sent me some data, so I have to receive, right? So ePOL actually doesn't do a receive and send. It actually just sends you a notification that some data has arrived for you, right? So now we have to do a receive. So if in event has come, means we have got some data. So if I go inside here, I will what I'm doing is, just look at this right now. I'm doing a receive, right? And depending on whether we have got the data, or we have, if it is zero or if it is not zero, three conditions, right? We talked about this in the last class, right? Okay. So till here everything is clear. So now you understand that my TCP server can accept multiple client connection, and it will be faster, right? Because we are not blocked on any send or receive or anything, right? Because earlier if you remember, send and receive were blocking calls, but now those are not blocking calls. If you don't have any data, the our thread will not be blocked on those send and receive API calls. So is everything clear till this point? Now we'll move ahead from here, right? Everything clear till this point? Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving now. So these, if you see these little codes, no, this what I am trying to do here is, so I am assuming what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to keep a state here for every particular socket. So suppose some data is received on a socket, so I'm keeping a state. Okay, how much data is received, what data is received. If you see the what is client states, so it is nothing but a unordered map of int and client state. Int is what? Int will be my socket ID, right? And what will be the client state? So if you go here and if you see here, so this will be my client state, this whole thing, right? So what I'm keeping here, what is the receive I have done till now? What is the send I have to? What is the send I have done till now? How much data I have sent? Whether I'm still waiting for send receive? Is my receive has been completed? Why I'm doing what? Why I'm doing this will be it will be clear when you see we'll be using this for our HTTP protocol, right? So we'll see whether our headers has complete, will our receive has complete, right? And there will be headers that will just keep in mind that there is some state that we are keeping for a particular socket. So whatever data is it's coming in our socket, we'll be putting it these data here, right? So now what we have done till now is we have made a server which can receive requests, means receive data from multiple clients. So now they can send some text data to and fro. I can send hi and hello to my servers, right? Now, what will happen is now on top of that, how do we know how much data will come or when do we have to stop, right? Like suppose client has to send, suppose 1 MB data. So how my server will know ki it will be a 1 MB data only because it is just receiving some text, right? And it never knows ki when will the client will stop sending data until unless they have done the stop, close the socket.
Amit,
So there must be some mechanism to yeah.
Amit, can you also quickly run through the code of Windows if possible, or it will take long time
Windows
for this socket thing, like the way we just went over the code for Linux, right?
it's same. But only thing is on Windows you will not have epoll.
Okay, okay,
It will have if you want to develop the similar epoll wala mechanism, you will have to use IOCP as I've told before.
okay, fine.
And if I remember, I was doing it, but I have not completed the IOCP wala thing.
I think you have did. I think I saw that some
I
IOCTL
have
related.
done, but it was not in a running state. Some error was coming, but it's similar to this. See,
Okay,
okay, let's just see. So same. Remember, Lin server start. We have Windows start,
yeah,
right? Inside this
right,
is a ever running while loop. Remember,
yeah,
and then inside this we have an accept call. So
okay,
once the moment I have done my accept call is my clear, like I have got some socket which is proper. I am marking it as non-blocking. Same. But instead of doing those epoll wala thing, we have to use this particular IOCP thing. So IOCP concept is there inside that some IO data per IO data that I have to check and all. And then similar to that, like we are doing no equal CTL add, we were adding. I have to add those sockets inside this completion port.
to get the callbacks.
Similar. Get the callbacks. But only
Okay,
difference between epoll and IOCP is epoll actually gives you notification that something has arrived,
right,
right? But in IOCP actually gives you notification when they have actually done your work. Like everything has been received and it has been copied to your buffer, then it tells you the notification, hey, I have received. Now you can take just the data you can take. That's it.
okay.
So it
But
is much.
select was not required here.
Sorry.
Select call.
No. Select is something like select is more of a basic polling mechanism. Then comes the poll, and then comes these things like epoll and IOCP. So select So there are some shortcomings with the select call. So select has the maximum capacity to hold only 1024 descriptors or FD,
Okay.
which is not there in ePOL or IOCP,
Okay.
right? And also in select there is a problem that that's why people don't use it. Is in ePOL, if you remember, only you will get the data only for the sockets in which you have got the data. Like if suppose you have put in entry for 100 sockets and you have got the data for 10 sockets only. So
Hmm.
in this ePOL wala wait, it will only return you 10 sockets,
Hmm.
right? But in select, what will happen is if you have added 100 sockets, it will return all the 100 sockets similar in the weight. But then you have to go and look for all the 100 sockets and check on which I have received the data, and then you do. So that is not scalable. That is the
Efficient. Yeah.
problem,
Okay.
right? So this thing you need to know. But only if you ask pros of select it, if you write code using select, then it will be portable. Like select is both on Windows and Linux, so you don't
Okay.
have to write a different code for Windows and Linux. But here you have to write because ePOL is just on Linux, right? So that is just the pros of select, but that is not scalable.
Right. Okay.
You got the
Yeah.
point why it is not
Yeah.
scalable.
Yeah. Thanks. This helps actually. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So similar to this, I'm telling you it's the same concept. You just go and look at the code. So just we are doing no equal CTL add. It is this API is called create IO completion port, and see where we are adding the client socket and all, right? And for the receive part, there must be some receive part. Set non-blocking number of thread. Huh. Okay, this is the IO port we have created. I'm not sure whether I've completed this. Huh, this is the worker thread. Huh, this remember equal city equal wait. So think of parallel to this API is get queued completion status. Right. So which all has completed their status, this you'll get. And from there you can check okay, how much data I've received, what data I've received from on those sockets directly. So that is the only difference. IOCP has better scalability actually than ePool. So IOCP actually does every work for you and then just directly give you the data. Okay, I have done all the receive or send that has happened on your socket and take this data. I have done it for you. ePool, but on ePool, it just tells you, oh, some data has come. Now you do the receive and send. Right. So in that way, IOCP is better than ePool. Right. But parallel to IOCP, there is a concept that is little new on Linux that has come, which was not earlier in Linux, which is called IO Uring. Right. So IO Uring you can say comparable to IOCP. In that also IO Uring, whenever the receive and send has actually happened, then it sends the notification. Okay, I have already done the work for you. You can just take the data. Similar to IOCP. Is this thing clear? Like these are very, very valuable informations. You will not get easily everywhere.
Yeah. Totally agree. These very fine nuances actually.
Yeah. I mean, you will have to actually know these things to start searching on Google.
Right. Right.
Okay. So if you want to look at the code, Mithun, you can just go ahead and look at my GitHub. I have posted. You can look at this. I have almost completed it, but some compilation error was coming that I have not fixed till now.
Okay.
Okay.
Amit, actually, I also saw that code, but something I could not able to actually fully connect with whatever that equals. See, suppose like we have some actually max events and all those things. I don't know what is the equivalent in Windows, and also there is some other thing called okay per IO data something. I don't know
Huh.
about is that a Windows thing or some
No,
structure
per
you are
IO
using.
data is something, a structure you are maintaining for your socket. So suppose you have added the socket in the IOCP, right? But when it gives you the notification back that data has received, so you'll need to have some mechanism to understand on which socket this is giving the data for, right? So you will
Ah, correct, correct,
take
correct.
that structure out, and in that structure you will see okay, this is the FD, this is the data that I have got. So that thing, so maintaining the state between those calls. between
Okay,
IO completion and that. So that
okay,
is
okay.
per IO
That
data.
that structure actually you have defined, right? That is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
our
Correct.
own user defined
Same
structure.
as this client state that I'm defining on Linux. Similar to that.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank
Right. Okay. So let's get back to the Linux for now, so that we understand at least one complete flow on one machine, and it's almost similar on the other machines also. If you take this code and copy paste on Mac, na, it will work same except for the equal on Linux. It is equal on Mac. If you take this, you have to change it with the KQ. So same as equal concept, we have a KQ concept on Mac. Only the API change will happen, and all the codes will remain same. So if you want to make it portable for Mac also, you just have to change the API call for equal with the KQ call on Mac, right? Okay. So both Mac and Linux, no, they actually use POSIX library only. So most of the code remains same. How the socket behaves there is socket with the int is the descriptor. Everything remains same. Only the equal part we will have to change, right? So mostly I'm telling you whatever the code I'm writing on the way I have written, it is very portable. Like you just have to do some copy paste work on every platform.
Also, what is the difference between this POSIX library and Berkeley socket library? Like some places it is written Berkeley sockets and
Berkeley. So these are
Berkeley.
different implementation people have come. So people like raw implementation that people actually use it and build on top of those. So some Berkeley from I think Berkeley is university or something like
University,
place
yeah,
or
yeah.
something. So people from there they implemented something and then people use those library to implement something on top of that. Then there is
Oh,
some POSIX library people have implemented. Then many people use those POSIX library to build something on top of them.
okay.
Right. Okay. Okay, so before we go ahead and try to see how to implement the HTTP protocol, first what we'll do is first we'll try to understand what is HTTP protocol, right? Then we'll know, right? Yeah, what to implement in that. Without knowing what we have to implement, how will we implement, right? So we have to know a little bit how HTTP protocol looks like, right? So we'll look a little bit of theory about what HTTP protocol is, how it looks like, and then we'll use that info to actually write the code. So code is already written. I'll walk you through the code, right? I mean, it will take a lot of time to actually write everything in during the class. It will, right? So I'll go through line by line. What is done after this? What is done after this, right? And you can also look into the code. Like a whole code is posted on GitHub, so you can. After I have done the whole review in the class, I think it will be very easy for you to go through the code. Okay. So we'll first look a little bit of theory into the because mostly people know about this HTTP, so I'll try to go a little fast, right? Okay. How do you give? Okay, so HTTP protocol. Okay, so how HTTP protocol looks like is, so there are two parts of it. One is from the client perspective, and other is from the server perspective, right? So from client perspective, how the HTTP protocol looks like? It means request and response, right? So HTTP protocol works in terms of request and response. So client sends a request and the server gives you a response. Whatever you are asking in the request, it gives you a response back, right? That is how what basic idea of HTTP is. So how the request looks like. So let's tell you how the request looks like is. I'll give you a sample request how it looks like. So this is how a request HTTP request looks like. Okay, q is equal to 0. Let's put it here. Okay, and then I think it is taking that comment. Let me remove this. Think of something like this and then connection alive. Okay. So let's dissect the HTTP protocol. So any HTTP protocol, the request, this is called the request. how the request looks like is like this. It has to be in this particular way. You cannot, if you write it any particular way, your server will not understand it. Your standard server, HTTP server, will say it is a messed up HTTP request. I will not give you any response back, right? So it has to be like this. So what would be the first word for the HTTP request? It has to be HTTP method, right? So first thing is HTTP method. And what does method means? Whether it is a get request or put request or post request, head request, like that, right? So depending on this, the server will understand. A server will write its own logic, right? Okay, if it is get request, then I have to return something back. If it is a post request, then I am expecting some body inside this request, and then I'll have to take this body and then I have to put it in some database or anything that I have to do, right? Does everyone understand this? Like I'm trying to go a little fast. I don't want, because I understand that many people understand HTTP. No problem with that, right? I can go fast. Okay. So the first thing is HTTP method. Second thing that you have to go do give is resource path. What you are expecting, what you want from the server, right? So slash index.html, or suppose index, or suppose slash users, whatever, right? So this is the resource that your server will understand. Okay, I will, the client wants something from this resource. And then there comes the HTTP protocol version. So my request has coming for a 1.1 version or 2.0 or 3.0, something like that, right? So looking at this, your server will understand, okay, it is in 1.1 version. So I know ki this is how the request will be. Getting my point? So looking at the version, the server will decide, okay, this is how my algorithm should be for this protocol. So, and it might be possible that your server might be supporting it or not supporting it. Depending on that, it will send you the response back, right? Okay. So now after this, always remember there is a backslash r and backslash n, right? So there is always a backslash r is return, and backslash n is new line. Return and new line. So in terms of characters, what it is? Backslash r backslash n, like this. So it is always a new line and a return field, means going back here. If it is not there, then your request is not proper. Your server will not respond properly, right? That's what protocol means, right? Putting, we and two people are trying to exchange things in a particular order so that both people can understand. This is what protocol means, right? So after that, there will be a set of headers. How? It will be in this way. It will be in terms of, this will be a key, colon, space, and then the value. And after this again, backslash r, backslash n, right? It means new line and the new line and the control field, right? Going back to the starting position, right? So there will be n number of, many number of headers could be there in the same way. Key, colon, space, value, backslash r, backslash n, right? So backslash r, backslash n defines that this header is complete. Is users the name of the file at server? I didn't get the point. Is users the name of the file?
I think he's
No,
referring to the first
acha, this one. It could be anything. That depends on your logic from the server side. It could be, if it is application server or web server, that will see what it does it mean, right? Okay. So this is done. And suppose you want to send a body in your request. So how will you send? You can send it like this. So if you want to send the body, you will have to send a header called content length, like this. And you have to define what is the size of your body. So suppose 5 is there, right? After the header is complete, you will have backslash r, backslash n, one backslash r, backslash n, because one header is complete. And again, one more backslash r, backslash n, telling my all the headers is completed. And after that, you have to give your body. And the body will be taken as how much? 5 length. by the server. Even if suppose your body you have given as suppose 10 length, but in the content length you have given 5. So on the server side, it will only take the 5 bytes. Getting my point? Is it clear? This HTTP request is clear? Everything, method, resource, right? So you understand, right? Even if you give suppose a big data here, hello, hi, there, something like this. So this is more than 5 bytes. But if you have given in content length 5, my only hello will be taken as the body. Others will be ignored. Correct? Okay. So this is how the HTTP request looks like. And how does the HTTP response looks like? So it looks like something like this, suppose. How the response will look. So whenever a request goes to the server, it has to respond with something, right? So how the response will look like? Something like this. So what will be there? So the very first thing that it has to send is the HTTP protocol. Okay, this is the protocol I'm sending the response in HTTP 1.1. Second will be the response code, and third will be the code ka string. So 200 is okay, or suppose there is 201 something like that created or something like that, or 404 is not available or something like that, right? So the first line should be HTTP protocol. Second is the code in integer, and the third one is the string of that particular code, right? And then again same /r/n, then all the headers, how much header you want to send, and every header ends with /r/n. Every header, one /r/n defines key one header is complete, right? And then if you want to send the body, same thing, you have to send the content length. You have to send the content length, and then two /r/n. One is here that header is complete, and one telling that all the header is complete. And then you have the body here. Inside the body, whatever the length you will send, that many length, the client will tell, okay, 1024 is there. I will take the 1024 as my body. Correct? Understood how the request and response looks like in the HTTP. Fine. So now we know how to send these. We can send this text. These are nothing but text only, right? Get slash, you have nothing but text. And we know how to send the text. We have written the code to send the text and receive the text, right? But now only thing is to implement the HTTP, we have to write in this particular order. And server will have to write this business logic in their side. Okay, the first thing I'm expecting is the HTTP method. Then I'm expect whatever after the space method space, before the second space, it will be a resource path. After that, it will be a HTTP method. Then it will be a /r/n. This parsing logic we will have to write on the server side. Is this clear? Before we go ahead and see the code, is this clear? Like we know what to do now. We know how to send and receive the text. We just now have to do it in a particular way. Correct? Okay. So now we'll move to the code. How to write this. Correct?
Is content always HTML?
No, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. You just give the content length and whatever bytes. So suppose 5 I've given, it will take the 5 bytes. It doesn't matter what is there.
Okay.
Right. But only thing is your browser. Suppose you are sending a request from the browser. Client could be anything, right? Client could be your own process. You'd be writing your own client, or it could be a Chrome browser, or it could be any Postman request, right?
Right.
Client could be anything. So if you don't give it in HTML, your browser will not like your browser understand HTML and JavaScript.
Okay. Right.
Right. So if you're sending in particular HTML format, you'll be able to see the nice look and feel on the browser. That's it.
Okay.
At the end, it is a text only.
Okay.
Okay. So now we'll go back to our link server. And what we'll do is we'll go to our epoll wait first. Here. So just assume कि somebody has sent a request. First, let's look at the server part only. Let's see how the server can parse all the data that is coming to it, and we'll understand, okay, this is the request, and then this is the response that I have to send, right? Correct? Okay, so this is the loop that we know. And suppose the very first time the client sends a request, it will go through that accept wala connection and it will add it to the epoll, right? Remember? And then once it sends the data, actual data, it will come here in the epoll wait. So on that particular socket, I will get some data, and if I'm getting some data, it will come here in handle receive, right? Clear? Now see what I'm doing in handle receive. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the data, which is here, this one, correct? And I'm checking if I have got some data, which means bytes read is greater than 0. Then what I'm doing is this state wala function, state wala structure. Inside that I have a receive buffer, which is nothing but a string. Inside that, what I'm appending, how much data I have received till now. So it could be a big data that the client will be sending, right? There will be a method, headers, body, they could be sending. It could be a big data. So we might not be able to receive it in one go, in one receive, right? So what we are doing is we are keep taking the data, we are keeping appending it inside this receive buffer, right? So this buffer until bytes read, how much byte we have read, we have appended inside the receive buffer. And then what we are saying, we are checking how much data we have received till now, is my request is complete. And when do you say request is complete? How do you know when a particular request is completed from the client side?
When the content
Two
size matches,
CRLs
Mhm.
or
Yeah,
two
tell me.
CRLFs. I'm sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
okay, when the content size matches,
Matches what?
like if the content is say 1,000 bytes, then you look for the 1,000 bytes in the buffer, and once you get all that, you say that one HTTP request or response has come to you.
Yes, correct. But how do you first you will have to take out the content length wala header, right?
Yeah, you will have to parse the headers.
So
Say
let's see what I have done inside the client request complete. So I'm passing, this is state ka client socket. So inside state, I'm maintaining the socket on which I'm receiving also, right? Inside this state. So if if I look inside this, so this is the function where I'm doing all the parsing work. If you check here properly. So I've got the client socket. Using the client socket, I'm taking out the state. Remember, this is the unordered map with the integer ID as the socket. So I'm giving the socket, I'm getting the state, particular structure for that particular socket, right? The state of that socket. And I'm checking whether my header is complete. So there are two parts, header part and the body part. And the body part is optional. Like in request, there could be a body, there could not be a body. But I'm sure ki header will be there, because without header, you cannot have a HTTP request. So first I'm doing is I'm checking whether my header is complete. So the very first time header, it is false. By default, it is false. First time. If you check here, if you check the state, go to declaration. My bool header complete. I think I have, is header complete. By start, it is false. Right? Initialized as false. So when the very first time I am receiving, my this will be false, so it will get inside. Not of header complete. Right? So what I'll do is I'm checking the header end position. So in the receive buffer, have I encountered this till now? Find gives key, okay, this particular string, it will return this, check this particular condition. If this header end position is not equal to npos, means not a position. This is given in STL string, that if you encounter any this particular string, what you are doing in find, if you have encountered this, then it will not return you npos. If you have not encountered, it will return you this string npos. So there could be two situations. Either you have received all the headers. If you have received all the headers, then it means at the end it will be backslash r backslash n backslash r backslash n, two backslash r back, which means header is complete. So suppose we take a good scenario where my header is complete first, right? So this will return me not, and we'll get inside. We are doing all the parsing work now, right? So what we'll say is we first will mark this. My header is complete because we have got inside this. We are marking it as true. So the next time we don't get inside this if wala condition, right? And then we'll try to take out all the headers data. So what all headers data will be there? Source receive buffer ka substring. I'm trying to take 0, comma header end position plus 4. Why this? Come on, quickly. This is nothing but just parsing we are doing. So receive buffer, what substring we are taking out from the start, which means if you see this particular, okay, let's not go back there. So this is 0, comma header end position. So what is my header end position? If I have got this
It
particular
is actually
starting of this
4 bytes
backslash n.
before.
Yeah. So means plus 4 means still all the backslash are backslash n.
Yes.
So I have got all the data, like starting from get, resource, method, all the headers until backslash r backslash n is inside this header end position. Sorry, header, not header in position, in the inside headers data, right? And then what we are doing is we are erasing from the receive buffer all the data, whatever the headers we have received till now. So I'm emptying that receive buffer because whatever the header data that we have got, we have copied inside our header data. So I'm freeing that for my body, if at all it is there. Getting my point? So I've written the comments also here so that it is easy to understand what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to free up my receive buffer to get the body now, if my header is complete. Because I have accumulated my header data here inside headers data variable. Now, inside headers data, what I have till now, starting from get, resource, http1 \r \n, all the headers till \r \n 2 times. All things are there inside headers data. Is this clear? Can we move ahead? Right? So after this, what I'm trying to take out? Request line. Headers data dot find \r \n. Tell me what this returns. I want to know. Tell me what is this returning? What will
One
be
header.
inside my request line end?
The first header.
No. Come on, quickly.
Get or post or any.
The first line of the request. What is the
Okay.
first line? Get resource HTTP method, HTTP protocol version.
Yeah.
Right. So inside my headers data, everything was there. And inside that, I'm finding my first \r \n. And where is my first \r \n? After the first line. Remember,
Yeah.
after every line, there is a \r. So this is giving my very first line. And inside that line, what I'm trying to do here is headers data 0, comma request line end. So I'm taking that request line inside this. So this gave me the position and this I'm taking that string out. And then I'm doing parse request line. Inside that, what I'm doing is I'm putting it inside the stream and then I'm doing. So what will happen is using this. So remember, there is a space between all those get space, resource space,
Yep.
HTTP protocol version, right? So if I'm giving this request line and I'm doing this stream and this particular state.http method, what actually this is doing? Can anyone tell what these line are doing? Basically,
Yeah, this
what
is
is this line
basically
from here?
parsing the first line and it's splitting it into HTTP method get and then the path like user and then the version.
Because all three are separated by spaces, and
Yeah.
by default string stream separates it by space by default, right? So whenever I'm doing this, the first word before the space, it will go inside the what is the first word before the space? Method. Remember, get or post or anything. So that is going inside my state ka HTTP method. And after, if I do a stream on a stream, so the next word after the space and before the next space, it will get inside the path because my second word is the path and my third word is the version. Nice and easy way to do the parsing, this one, right? So remember this, by default, it takes the space as its delimiter, string stream. Is this clear? This parse request line is clear? Everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So now my parse request line is clear and I have put everything in my state, right? State ka method I have separately, I have put it everything. So my first line is clear. Now after that, what I'm trying to do is substring of request line in, wherever my request line has ended, +2 means /r/n means going 2 ahead, means the first header, right? This one, got it? So this will give me what? The data headers only will contain what now? Headers only will contain what? Tell me after this line.
So all the string from that particular index until end.
But exactly what it is inside headers only. What is there? If we talk about HTTP request, what is there inside now?
That content type or content length and host and
Everything
file.
from the first
All the
line.
headers after
All
the
the
request line,
information. Yeah.
right? So all the headers. And then after that, what I'm doing is parse header. So let's see what I'm doing inside the parse header. I'm passing all the headers only while a string, right? So this is important. So inside this, what I'm and that- so like
Yeah.
this is nothing to do with the socket or networking. What we are intelligently trying to do is parsing all the string in a way that we understand ki HTTP, if it is a HTTP request, we understand it has to be in this particular way.
Yeah. I mean, this could have been simplified with regex.
I mean, there could be other ways to do it. If you can do it with regex, you can do it. But I found it simple enough to understand.
Right. Right.
Regex itself is a difficult thing to understand.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why
But
I asked that because I have used it just by copy pasting some code from here and there. But is it simple to use, or that is another problem headache, right? To also
I have
understanding.
not used regex to use this and all. So I found it way more verbose if I'm using it is this way. I know okay, after this I'm doing this, after this I'm doing
Correct.
this.
Agree.
But if
Even
you
if
are
you
good with
use, even if you use regex, I think that because you're having to parse multiple lines, right? So you still have a
correct,
while
correct.
loop.
Means I'm not sure how regex could be a good use case here. I mean, there is no. I mean, if you can try, I have not tried. If you can let us know ki if it is a good use case to try a regex here.
And
Amit,
also
Amit,
performance wise,
Regex,
regex won't be a
sorry.
good use case for small use case.
Yeah. Maybe the thing is, the regex is useful if there is some repetitive pattern kind of a thing. But not very sure.
Not
Here we
sure.
don't have because we are everything is different, right? We have a get somewhere, post somewhere, put somewhere, HTTP
Correct.
1.1 somewhere, and host content length, everything. I don't think that will repeat also. So maybe slightly difficult means not so much useful, I believe.
Yes.
I don't
I
know.
mean, I believe, but if somebody can come with the case, let's see. I'm not sure. Okay. So, so if you can see, I'm just trying to parse one line of header inside this, taking out the key value, and then I'm checking. And then what I'm doing is I have in the state, I have something called headers. And if you see inside the state, what is headers? Can you see it is an unordered map of string, comma string? Can you see? Can see, right? Oh, that is not showing only. Wait, I'll show it here. So client state. So if you see here, not here. So if you see here, I have headers which is unordered map of string, comma string, right? So what I'm doing is I'm parsing each line. I'm taking key value and I'm putting it inside this. So key as the header ka key and the value is header ka value. So after I have parsed everything inside my client state, I will have all the headers separately, right? With the key value pairs, right? Correct. So that I'm putting it here. Every time I'm taking out the key, I'm putting inside the key and then the value of that. Correct. And while I'm doing this, I'm also looking if there is a key called content length. This particular header that I'm looking for. If while doing all the parsing of the headers, if I get the content length, I'll convert it into a simple integer and I'll return from this parse headers. And if not, it will return it as 0. Right? So is this parse headers proper? Okay. Everyone understood what we are doing here? Can we move ahead? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So once parse header is done, so where we are calling parse headers here. So what it is returning me, remember, if it has content length, it will return me content length. Otherwise 0. So I'm putting it inside my state. State has a variable called content length, right? So now suppose what I was doing is I was inside request complete, right? So if it comes here, is header complete? So remember, I have marked it as complete here as true, right? So if it comes here and it will check if my state ka content length is greater than 0. So there could be two situations. Either it is 0 or greater than 0, right? Greater than 0 means I also need to receive some body also. Correct? So if my content length is greater than 0, then what I'll do is I'll say state.receive buffer ka size is greater than equal to state.content length. What this particular condition is doing is, have I received all that content means body till now? First condition is my header is complete and do I have to receive for the body if my body is complete or not. Second is I'm checking whether I have totally received the body also or not. So there could be two way. Either I have received the body or I have not received the body, right? So this condition is I have received my full body if I go inside this. So inside this, what I'm doing is I'm marking the state body as receive buffer ka substring from 0 to content length. So whatever the content length is there from 0 to content length, I'm putting it in my body, right? So remember, whatever the body you give in, whatever the content length I will receive in header, only I'll take that much only, right? So this is what it is, what I'm doing. Even if, see, here the condition is greater than equal to, but I'm taking substring till content length only. And then once I have received it, I'll mark my receive buffer as erased. Means I'll reset my receive buffer because I have taken everything. I've got everything. Whatever the body header, I have put it inside my state. headers is inside the header and body is inside the state ka body. Okay. But if it is not complete, right? So this, so the second condition from here, from this first wala, if my header is complete, but there could be a condition that my content length is 0, that I don't have any body inside my request, right? So in that case also my receive is complete, right? Either I have completed all the headers and the body, in that case my receive is complete, or if I have received all the headers and I don't have to receive anybody, in that case also my receive is complete, right? And in these two cases I will return true. Otherwise, on all other cases, it means I have to still receive something. Either header is still left or body is still left. In those cases, I am returning false. So from where this request complete is called, no? So if my request is complete, so now you know when your request is complete, right? So if still my some headers or body is still left, I will not go inside this, and I'll just mark I'm still waiting for some receive, right? And then what will happen? This whole function will go away, and then whenever new receives come for that socket, it will again come back here, and you will again do a receive looping till you have received everything. Until unless you come here and you say your request has completed. Is this clear? Now, like for the HTTP request, if we have come inside this if, it means that we have received everything from request line to headers to body, everything. Correct? Otherwise, we keep on doing receive for that socket because equal will be giving me notification for that socket.
But what
Fine.
if we receive data of the next message also?
How?
You would have done a receive. So let's say one message is 100 bytes and you took 150 bytes.
Mhm.
So now you will put one message and the 50 bytes that also will be handled in this flow of the next
No.
message.
No, that will be, see, remember, we are taking either till header or till the content length we are getting in the header. Remember?
Right. And okay.
So my one request is completed till that there now. Other things will be ignored.
That won't be received only from the buffer, or that will be received and kept
So
somewhere.
how I have designed my HTTP protocol right now is, even if there is some data after that HTTP request, I'm totally ignoring that. Because
Yeah.
what I'm understanding in my HTTP protocol right now is full one request has come, and I have to send the response back before I take any request again.
Okay.
Right? We'll
Right.
talk about HTTP 2 protocols that works little differently, but right now think we are just now implementing HTTP 1.1 only.
Okay.
Because there are some complexities involved in HTTP 2.0 that I will discuss. I might not code it because that is
Okay.
little more complex to code. But I'll
But
tell
the
you what is the
scenario,
difference.
yeah, but the scenario what I explained is not possible in general, right? Because when you send a request only, then you get a response, and like so, you cannot send two requests, or even if
In
it's sent, you
HTTP
will ignore it.
1.1, no.
Okay.
HTTP 2, it might be possible. And then there is other way to handle those things. Right? So
Okay.
right now, just think one request has come. Then once one request is completed, my next thing I have to do as a server is I have to process that and send some response back before I take the request from the same socket again.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? When I say one socket means one client. Remember, one client per
Yeah.
socket.
Yeah.
Right? So if
Agree.
some data is getting received on that socket, it means that it will be for the second request, but only
Okay.
after I've sent the response back.
Okay. Thank you.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amit, where do we use this waiting for receive? Where means uh, I, so you're
Right now,
setting
I
it as
don't
true.
think. Yeah. So I don't think I'm using it somewhere. You can might be ignore it also. Like, because while I am writing the code, I'm thinking a lot of things in the architecture, because I've written two times this code and then I've deleted everything. If you see now, I'll show you the server code I've written. I was using some concept of connection, then I deleted it. So I was doing some architecture. There might be some code that are not used. So maybe this waiting for receive I have not used anywhere. Let me check. Yeah, this is not used. So you can just ignore this. So anything this will happen is if request is completed, Then we have come here, and then we'll give it to the upper layer. That I will tell you what we are doing here. But if it is not there, it will simply come and it will, I mean, this will go out of this function, and it will wait till we get a notification for receive again. Right? Correct. Moving ahead.
Yeah.
Is this interesting or not? Like seeing everything right from the scratch.
Yeah, it's very interesting actually.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everything
I
happening on the internet, now you understand what is happening internally. So only the good thing about this is once you understand one protocol, okay, how it is happening. Now even if you see any other protocol, you will know, okay, something like this is happening inside. And at the very end, it is nothing but some simple binary data flowing on the socket, and some send or receive is happening only. On top of that, some kind of protocol business logic is written. That's it. Internally, it's all this socket receive and socket send only, right? Either it could be most of the protocols are on TCP, some protocols are on UDP, and then some raw sockets, those are like very advanced or some not very common ones. But mostly what you see is TCP protocol. So whatever it is, like if even if it is web socket, or even if it is some web RTC or anything like that, think internally something like that send receive is only happening. On top of that, some business logic is written. Okay, first I have to do this, parse this like this, and then I have to send something like this. That is part of the protocol, right? So
Amit,
Amit, okay, sorry, please.
yeah.
okay, I'll just go first. Amit,
Mm.
so any like like a server which is like a well-known library, say for example Tomcat, right?
Mm.
So I guess that they are basically like, so it has this client, it has this server functionality that we wrote, and an HTTP parser, and then along with it, I guess a number of other bells and whistles, right? The load balancer and things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
how the,
So
but at its
everything
core,
in
it has to be a server and like using some mechanism like epoll or whatever, and then
yes, yes,
an
yes.
HTTP parser, basic.
Yes, 100%. Everything, it has to be something like that. Internally, it has to be somewhere, it has to be socket ka send and receive. Without that, you cannot send and receive the data. And on top of that, if it is HTTP you are writing, you have to adhere to this HTTP protocol logic. And if you are writing HTTP protocol, you have to understand that it will come in certain way and have to parse the text like that, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
I
it's
was also, I was Googling. I don't think like, yeah, I mean, I think that even like any HTTP parser, it cannot be run faster than Bigo N. Has to be Bigo N, like the one
because
for
the
loop for while. Yeah.
correct. Exact, correct. So I'll tell you ki in theory I'll discuss ki what all improvements people has done from HTTP 1.1 to 2 and then 3. That will be interesting to see. So that at least you know ki, see, internally you now you understand ki what is happening inside. But how business logic can be different to make things faster, right? Now it has come to business logic now. Whatever the optimization that we can do on socket level, we have done the epoll and everything that we have done. Now the optimization could be done on top of that, like on business logic, what optimization could be done. So those optimization were the difference between the protocol version of 1.1 or 2 or 3, right? And that we'll discuss.
Okay.
Okay.
And Amit, one more question. If Gajanand has some question, then he was asking, right? So after that, else I have one question. If this PCAP and all, right? This Wireshark, they work on Prometheus mode. So it uses raw socket with something like the parameter to be passed as Ethernet to capture those packets. How does that work?
Those would be working on raw sockets only. Those are pretty much above, means lower, even lower than the TCP protocol they are working.
Yeah. So you have to specify
Hmm.
that Ethernet in that socket. When you open the socket, you have to specify that this is
Correct,
raw
correct, correct.
and Ethernet.
Even if we are doing here also, no, in while in socket, when we are creating a socket, where we are creating a socket, one second. Here
Yeah.
when here we are creating, no, somewhere. No.
Yeah, you just pass that code.
This one. Here we are creating a socket. No, here also when we are doing a IP address where we want to see here in address any we are given, right? Here you
Right.
can even specify that I want to listen on only on Ethernet 0, EH0. So only data that will come for EH0 will you will only listen to that only. Like that
Yeah, but
also
you
you
still
can
need to
provide here.
specify sock raw somewhere, right? I remember this sock.
That is for the socket, but the address
Okay.
that I want to listen on this particular address only that you can specify here for the TCP socket also.
Okay. So then it will go to the Ethernet level and then it will pick packets, Ethernet packets.
No, for this particular implementation, if you give ETH0, it means this particular server that you are building, it will only receive the data which has come to that particular the ETH0 only, not on all
Okay.
the local host or everything.
Got it. Direct. So that is Prometheus mode, basically.
I mean, don't know what is Prometheus mode, but yeah,
Okay. Okay.
right. But you can actually specify as you don't want your so suppose you want your server to be very much local to your local host. Suppose you have this particular tool that you have to write that you want to pass data from one process to another process in the same machine only. Then why do you want to give any address any, right? You don't want to be get it to be communicated from the
Hmm.
outside world. So
Right.
you should not give any address any. You can give local host like 127.0.0.1. If you give that, no other machine from the outside will not be able to connect to your machine. You will
Mhm.
only be receiving from your local host only,
Okay.
right? Did I delete something here? No. Uh,
Amit, I have one question.
hmm,
Like, say, consider a scenario in which content length is 5
hmm,
and the client sends hello there. So
hmm,
there will be, it will be still in the kernel buffer, right?
hmm.
And say immediately another
No,
header
there
comes.
it's not like it will be kernel buffer. Once you have done a receive, no, it might come to your buffer. Receive hi there, it might come to your receive buffer.
But then you said
But I'll
like we
be
have,
remember there is a pros is
We
request.
truncate, yeah. We don't we
We
drop
truncated.
the
Remember this line, this particular line, these two lines. See these two
okay,
lines.
okay,
I am just taking out till the content length only that I've received. Other things are erased. That's it. I will only receive the 5 bytes and even if it has come to my buffer, I'm just not taking it as my body. That's it.
okay, got it.
है ना? Okay. Okay. So now the lower part is done. Like whatever the data is getting sent in the request, I have received everything. I have put it in my state wala structure, right? Now only thing I have to do is somehow I have to pass it to the some upper logic, like upper business logic that okay, this thing I have to done. Now what you want to do with this particular request, right? Now it should be a logic that has to be done by the user. If I have received get and this particular resource part, what I want to do with that, right? This logic should be in some that will be writing the HTTP server using our TCP server. Getting my point? So just see this code and then we'll go ahead. So this part is done. Our lower part is done. I have received all the requests. Is it done till now? Till here everything is understood, that I have taken everything inside. The header is separate, my body is separate, my request, what is the method and what is the version, everything I have taken out inside the client state wala structure, right? And now let's see this. So this, if you see in this folder, example folder, I have created one separate http server.cpp file. So how I want my user to use my http server, right? So what I will do is, this is a common way, like common API that server gives. This is how you can create your own server using our HTTP server, right? So people generally do it like this. So I am creating a HTTP server ka object, and if an object is created, what I am doing is I am registering some methods. Like I'm saying, if it is get method and my resource is user, you process this function. If my resource is /shops, you process this function. if it is someone is asking for index.html, you process this function like that. And then at the end, I'm doing a listen on this particular port, which is this 8000. So this is one API that I have given. You can use my HTTP server like this. So this is some API, right? You can define your own API, how you want users to use your server. Somebody will be creating a server, right? Starting the server. That part of TCP server that we have done seen till now, that was just a library that we'll be using. But the actual executable will be from this part, int main. Can you see this? So why am you showing you this is first is this is how my server should get built. Like this is how it should be usable by a user. So how they should use it? They should create an object. They should register all the services that they need, right? So somebody said slash users, it should come and execute this particular function. This is a function, remember, right? This is a lambda function, or you can give a simple function also, depending on you. But what I'm saying is, this is if something call for slash users, this business logic should be implemented, right? Getting my point? So this business logic could be anything. Like from here, you can connect to a particular database, right? You can get some data and then you can send it in the response. Correct? This is how HTTP server looks like. If you have created any Node.js server now, this is how it will look like. Right? So to implement this, what I will do is I need some kind of HTTP server class, right? So this HTTP server class, think of it as like a master class that is handling everything. Like it is registering the services. When I'm saying registering the services means what? This particular thing. This think of this one particular slash shops or slash where's one particular service I'm registering. So something comes with this logic I have to implement. So what I'll do is for this particular class, I'm creating a class. So suppose what I have done is, see, you can, so now this particular business logic and all know how you want to put it out or how want to implement it is up to you. So what I have done is I've created a separate folder called HTTP server, and all my HTTP server logic goes inside this. And this particular HTTP server will be using my TCP server. Getting my point? So if you see here, HTTP server inside CMake list, what I'm doing is target link library. So this particular HTTP server itself, I am creating it as a static library. And this static library that is getting created is using TCP server ka library. So HTTP server will itself be built as a static library, and this static library is getting built using TCP server library that we have seen the code till now. And this particular server, HTTP server ka library, will be used by this particular example. If I go here and see a CMake list, and if you see this HTTP server executable that I'm building, and what library I'm using, see this HTTP server, that this particular server will give me HTTP server. Is this folder structure or is this project is clear to you how I'm trying to build this? I'm not saying this is the only way to build this. This is how I have built it. You can build it in some other way also. You can take this whole HTTP server ka logic inside TCP one folder only, basically. But I'm trying to keep it separate. My idea is I want to keep TCP server in the separate libraries, because if suppose tomorrow I want to use it for some other suppose business logic or some other protocol, so I can directly use that library to build some other protocols also. This is how my thinking is. So today I'm using that TCP server library to build the HTTP server library, HTTP protocol. Tomorrow I can use it for maybe suppose WebSocket or maybe SSH also. I can directly use the TCP library directly. So I have, that's why I have kept the TCP server as a separate project. That is my thought process.
Um,
Yeah.
in the main function for HTTP server, where these services are registering themselves, right?
This one.
Yeah, there is a if and there is a fall through waterfall kind of a logic.
This is not waterfall. This is like I have given an implementation such that you can just keep adding the list services here, like dot get or dot post, like that. This is not something it will come to user. If it is not fine, then it's not something. If you want, you can do it like this also. So you can register it like this also. So server and then get like this separately also.
Okay.
Right? But if you
Okay, I see
see
you
my
have cascaded
implementation,
them. Okay. Okay. You get server get and then again dot get on that.
huh,
But my question was like, so let's say like you have a bigger website, right? Supposing you are going to some website which has 1 million pages. So there'll be like a hard coding that is going to be
so it
done.
doesn't. So even if it has million pages, it doesn't happen like that. So suppose you have first page as a suppose landing page. Suppose, right? So suppose I'll give my suppose slash as slash landing dot html. Suppose I give, right, or suppose slash landing only. Inside slash landing, I'll be sending landing dot html page to that guy,
Right,
right?
right,
Inside that landing page, I might have some buttons or some links, right?
right.
If I click that link, there will be a separate request that will come,
Agree.
right? And that in that request, it might be possible that it could be a link to a separate page, suppose slash landing slash something, right? Or
Right.
slash some user also. So
Yeah.
that you can be there, slash user will be there or slash landing will be there. But suppose it could be also like that. So slash user colon first user ID, like that. So suppose it's something like this. If I have to show you, I copy this and suppose I paste it here. Let me format this. So show inside instead of solve, suppose I could be like this user colon ID,
Yeah.
right? So every time I click on that particular link of user, suppose think of in HTML, I'm going to a particular profile of a user.
Right.
So I don't have to hard code every profile ka wo slash user slash 123. I don't have to do that. Only thing I have to do that is like this. So what I will do in my parsing logic is that I have not given till now.
Oh,
I will take the resource path, and then in resource path also I'll take a colon. I'll take the resource and then this particular query, this ID. And then I'll use this ID as deciding okay, which profile that I want to. Suppose ID suppose something come as 12345 slash user colon 12345. My logic would be to take this as a query and then go to the database, get some
yeah.
data, and then pass it again. And so I am not, what I'm saying is this something called dynamic this service that I'm registering,
Understood. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So you don't have to don't have to put a million, that like you are saying, no, million
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
a million services that you have to register. But if it is different services, then yes, you have to register. Similar thing like given like this. But now you understand that you can pass server. It could be application server, right? Where it is returning some JSON data or something, right, like that, right? It doesn't necessarily have to return HTML files only,
Right.
right? Okay.
Yeah. So Amit, inside this get function in the HTTP server, you have taken something like a map with a string and a function std function, and then you return the same object. That's why you can do this chaining. Is it like that?
I'm returning star of this basically.
Okay. So and you
So
have
this get
encapsulated.
function is returning star of this. So again, I can give a dot of that. That you understand,
Right.
right? C++ logic.
Yeah, and this HTTP, this lambda is taken into a function, std function object.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
That I'll show you. I'll show you right now. So
Okay.
what I have created is I have to create a HTTP server class, right? So where I've created inside my HTTP server, there is something called HTTP server.h and .cpp. So this is my class, and this is, think of it like a manager class, which is managing everything, right? Talking to the TCP server ka logic directly, then taking the taking the state data and creating a new request and response object like that. So think of it as he's the director of everything. And then what all implementation functions we need? Right now I put get and post, but now you understand the logic. You can put also, post also like that, right? Or whatever the different methods are there. Correct? When I move ahead, everyone is getting it or not, or everyone is lost, or someone is lost. Because this is very interesting. You are understanding very complex. Like the whole internet is working on this, and everything you use, like are you using Apache or Tomcat? Everything you use, this code is there somewhere.
And the way you used to build it, can we say that it's an example of builder pattern, like dot get,
It's
dot get?
somewhere like builder pattern. Yes, correct.
Okay.
If you are going into LLD stuff, it is somewhat builder pattern, right?
So you can use it
But
as an example for builder pattern.
you can. Yeah. So only thing what I'm saying is the way I have done right now is somewhere we have to do this kind of logic only. Only thing is I have architected my HTTP server like this. You can do it other way also. Like I have kept I have kept a TCP server separate. I have kept my HTTP server separate. HTTP server is using TCP server. So those logic I have given you, that is my thought process. You can have your own thought process. Correct? So what I'm doing is I've created a HTTP server class. I'm giving this HTTP get and post functionalities. And inside this, what I want, remember the first thing is a string and the second three is a HTTP function, which returns nothing but takes in HTTP request and response classes objects, right? And why I've done this is the very basic idea why I'm doing this is I have seen other servers is getting handled like this, so I'm trying to replicate those. Whatever the standard server, like someone who is right. Anyone has written any Node.js server using Express.js and all? Is anyone here who has written Node.js server?
Yeah, it's the same.
Right. So if you have written, you will see similar to this. You will be writing something similar to this if you have written it. So you'll say get and slash something, and then you will register the function, what business logic you have to implement. So I'm trying to replicate something like this, which is there, which people use in the standard servers. Right? Okay. So what I'm doing it here is I have to get and post request and then listen and send response data, right? And see how it is implemented is. So one thing. So if you see here, HTTP server is my top level ka class and TCP server is a lower level ka class, which is doing actual socket ka send receive, and HTTP server is top level who is coordinating everything. So once I have got the data in the, you remember I have got the data in the TCP receive. Right now, when we are getting the data, there is no point, there was no discussion of HTTP receive that was happening. HTTP server. HTTP server class was nowhere in the picture when we are doing TCP server, right? Yes or no?
Yep. Yeah.
So think of it as lower level logic is the TCP server and higher level logic is the HTTP server. So once I have got all the data, once I've got the everything in the state wala structure, I have to pass the state to the HTTP server ka class. So how do we pass it was my main concern, right? So I cannot directly keep a object of the HTTP server here and then call from that because it it doesn't make sense. Like when it will be like a more of a cyclic dependency you will be having. So HTTP server is using TCP server and then TCP server is using HTTP server. So if you have to remove that kind of cyclic logic and all, what you can do is the best thing is pass on the callback mechanism. Does everyone get that callback mechanism? What is callback?
You are passing in basically a function which will be to the
Yes.
in the function call itself, you're passing a callback.
Yeah, so I'm passing a call function from my higher level to a lower level logic. And once it is done, you can directly just use the callback. So in that way, I'm just not dependent on my higher level classes. Right. So how I'm doing it here is, if you see inside HTTP server, this is the constructor. right? And inside the constructor, what I'm doing is I'm creating the TCP server. And which TCP server it will create, depending on whether it is Linux or Windows and machine, it will create that particular TCP server. If you remember the logic, create server ka logic, see, right? And once I've done this, I have some functionality inside TCP server that I have put to set these callbacks inside my TCP server. So set error callback, accept callback, listen callback, receive callback, and set send callback. So once these things are done on the TCP server side, I want these particular functions to be called. These particular functions. These are functions, right? Lambda functions. So these are the functions that I'm setting at as a callback. So one thing that I'll show you is set receive callback. So in set receive callback, what I'm sending is which function I'm sending? I'm sending a function which expects a client state. See this. And inside this function, I'm calling on receive. So understand this flow. So when we have started HTTP server, I have created a TCP server object and I'm setting this set receive callback. If you go here and if you see inside lin server, I have set this receive ka callback. So this receive callback is one of the member function inside lin server, right? If it would have been developed on Windows, it would have gone inside the Win server. So this is a member function that I have set receive callback. So what will happen now is I have set it, and the second function that need to be called is, if you see here in example, the how it is happening is I have created this constructor, everything I have set, and I'm then calling this function. Inside this function, what I'm doing is I'm taking an unordered map, I'm putting key as this one and the value as this particular function. So key as this particular and this, and the value as this particular lambda functions, right? And then I say listen. Inside listen, see what I'm doing. The moment I say listen, what it is doing is just look at this. I'm saying TCP server ka initialize. Remember what is happening in this initialize? I'm doing everything, create socket, server ka socket, right? Bind, address, everything is done inside this. And the moment I said TCP server start, what happens? It goes into that loop. Let's go into lin CPP and here. The moment I say start from the lin server start, it is moving inside the while loop. So the moment I say start from that HTTP server ka listen function, that particular thread is inside the ever running while loop that is stuck in this while loop, which is doing except. Is this clear? So that ever running while loop is actually running from here. TCP server start. So I've written the comment. This start is the forever running while loop.
Yeah.
Right? Now my while loop is running, and suppose any client comes and starts to connect with us, it will connect. Remember all the logic, TCP server ka logic, it is connecting. It is now doing send and receive through ePOL. It is getting all the data. Once it has got all the data, what will happen? Let's go there. Once you have seen, right? Once it has got all the data, what was happening? Equal loop. Here we were doing handle send. So once we have where we have got all the data, actually here. Handle send, bytes received. Where were you writing? Is request complete? Something was there. Handle receive. I think this is something else. This is handle send. Sorry. This is handle receive. And if request is complete, means I've got all the data. See what function I'm calling. What is this receive callback? The what one that we have put inside from the HTTP server wala one. Remember? During the constructor. So I'm calling this function with what? State. And state has what? Everything. State has everything. Method, body, headers, everything. Remember? And what? So when I'm calling this function, which function will get called? This function will get called. HTTP server CPP. This function receive callback ka, which I have registered as a callback. So it will come inside this. It will give me client state, and I'm calling this on receive ka client state. So let's go inside on receive ka client state. Inside this client state, what we are doing is I'm just trying to print here, just printing some what headers has come and everything. But I'm creating new request and response object here when I have received everything. Request with client state and response with client state and one particular callback function that we'll see later. But what I'm seeing here is if request.get method is get, right? So what I'm doing here is get, everything is in my client ka state, right? And I'm creating this request with the client state. And I have given some functionality key. If you do get method, I will return the client state ka method, right? So if I'm checking if it is get, and so what I'm doing is I have created a separate handler for get and post everything. So these handlers are nothing but unordered map of string and function. So I'm checking if it is get, I'll go to the get handler and I'll check ki what is my path slash user wala path. So that this is giving request.get path, which has come from where? Client ka state, client ka path, right? If it is not equal to header ka end, means I have got that something is registered with this path. So what I'll do is get handlers ka get path and I'm sending this request and response. So after I've done this, which function will get called? So suppose slash user has come in the request.get path. So this is which function? Which function is this getting called? Anyone? The control will move where from this particular function? Anyone? No one?
To those functions which we have changed in the beginning.
Yes. So this get handlers request.get path will actually give you the slash user, and this is the unordered map. So it will, the value will be what? The handler functions, basically this one. So suppose slash user came, so this is the function that will get called, which will call your business logic, what you have written. And inside the send, you will do what? The response send. You will actually send the body. Whatever the body you are sending as the response, it will send. And inside send response, if you'll see, I'm putting everything as proper HTTP response, like HTTP 1.1, whatever the status code we have put, message. I'm taking out all the headers and making it as response stream, everything right. And at the end, I'm calling this callback, which is what? Which is actually will call the TCP server ka send, and it will send all the data. The whole flow I'm telling you, the request and response whole flow is complete. Now tell me what is any confusion is there or not. I have taken every request. I have responded with the business logic the user has given me. I have sent the response back to the client who has sent the request. So the whole flow is complete in the code. So now the only things is not completed is like right now it is only get and post request that I have made it for. So you can also put it for put request or method head request and all. One thing, there are many error checks that I have not taken into consideration. Like suppose somebody is sending gets, maybe somebody sends double space, then what will happen? So those error checks and all that you will have to do. But suppose think of it as some happy path, it is all happening properly. So if I go ahead and run it also, no. So this is my Linux machine in which I have put my whole code, whatever I've showed you right now. And if I run this, go ahead and cd build cmake dash dash build dot. And when I'm doing the topmost ka cmake list build, I'm building everything, HTTP server and everything. So it is building. And if I run this, my server, which is my HTTP server demo, HTTP server demo. So it has been initialized. It is running on 8000 port. Only thing is I've forgotten what was the IP I was using. So where will I get the IP? I'll have to go to my check the IP. Sign in. So by that time, tell me if you have any confusion. So EC2 instance. one running EC2 instance. This is the instance on which I have run the server right now. This is the public IP. And if I run it on, let's say 1000, and I'm running on it on 8000, right? So if you see here, I have given what all what all things I have registered. So if I go here and see HTTP, so I have registered these things. So users is there, SOPs is there, tic-tac-toe.html is there, users is there, right? One user to have already, this I will remove, I think. But anyway, so if I give shops, let's see. If it come first thing is if see. So once again, I'll run it once again. So it will non-blocking. So sometimes it runs wrong. Once again, maybe I'll remove these shops that which I've given twice. First shops, index, tic-tac, add shop. Okay, take here I have not given. So let me build this again. Let me run this. It is saying initialized, listening on port 8000. And if I run, let's say users I'm running. See, if I'm running /users, this is the response I'm getting. If you see here, if I go here, HTTP server, if I'm saying users, what is the code that I'm running? I'm adding some headers, and this is the send, this is the body I'm sending. This is the, okay, I've written BOSI, but body of HTTP response. So whatever you send in the body, that the Chrome will show you. Whatever you send in the body, that only Chrome shows you. Headers and all are for the understanding of Chrome. That doesn't get showed on the this UI. So this is the body of the HTTP response. And if you come here and showed you some in prints. So if you come here, see what the Chrome has sent me. If you see here, receive data headers. See, this is the Chrome that has sent. Accept value is one header. User agent is one header. Accept language. These many headers the Chrome has sent me. Connection value keep alive. And this path is /users method get, right? So these are all I'm printing. And suppose I have also put something called index.html. Let's see if it's able to give that. See, inside index.html, if you see what I have sent, index.html, what I'm sending is I've sent res.send file. Inside send file, what I'm doing is I'm reading one index.html file, which is actually here inside debug, build, debug. This index.html file, inside that I've written show me the current date and time. So that it is reading this particular file and it is sending as a body, right? So it is showing me this. Can you see this? The current time in India, at least it is 3:54. So this is actually getting shown from my service. If you want to type from your Chrome, you can also type. You can also get it.
Amit, can you show me that HTML page that you are actually serving in that? Does it actually have some JavaScript to display the?
Yeah. It has inside the script.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Let's say that you wanted to serve, you are serving a page, and in that page, in the body, you have some image.
In the body, you have some image. Okay.
IMG SRC equal to whatever. Then how does the client get that image is my question. So client, of course, is your Chrome browser, but whatever client you have, it could be an instance of your own program also.
So you will take the whole image, read it as a binary data, and you'll send it to the other side. The other side will know what they have to do. So if it is Chrome, it will know how to show the image. If it is PNG image, it will be able to show you. You can try this. Instead of sending the index.html, you put some PNG file here. And then you read that PNG file the way you are reading HTML file. Same, no difference. Just open it in binary mode. Right. When you open the file, you give the mode.
I think his question was more of if the current static page that you showed itself has a one image embedded into one of the corners, let's say.
HTML file.
Yeah, that's what you meant, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
How can
that's
HTML
what my
file has
question is.
image embedded? Either it could have a link to the image.
I mean, generally HTML can have no
slash
I mean,
image,
like
tag
img
image.
src equal to something, right?
Yeah,
So
it can have, right?
So yeah. So image source equal to something
Yes,
like that, right?
yes,
yeah. And just
Let's see.
supposing it's some
Let's try.
PNG file and it's residing locally in the same folder, so you can just give image.png, right? Then what is the flow is?
Then
then
the flow should be like this. You will be copying the whole first the HTML file, which will be containing image source equal to everything data, and then those files also image files that you will give it to the other side, so that these two things has gone to the client, and now they will be able to show it. Right. So if you give image source, it means it look for that particular file in that particular path, source path, right? Image source equal to that. Getting my point? So you will have to send those two files together. As a business logic, you have to send that. No?
So you are saying that in that case, we will have to. So if you want to build an HTTP server that is also serving images or video, then you need to send the images and video files as a separate response. I mean, you have to send them along.
Somewhere you have to send the images or videos, right? It will not go it by itself. As a logic, you will have to somewhere write, okay, now we have to send the video and images.
But would the browser actually take care of parsing through the data that we have sent and then
if browser understand, then it will do.
Let's say in one of the div element you have given an image source, and you have sent the whole HTML file to the browser, and along with the image data, let's say, would browser actually take care of replacing the div elements image source with the image that we have sent? How would it actually know, okay, for this path, this is the image that I've received?
See, inside index.html, suppose inside div, suppose you are giving something called like this, image source equal this, right? Some image.
Correct. Yes.
img.png like this. You give it like this, right? Something like this.
Correct. Yeah.
You give it image like this, right?
Yes,
so it means it is expecting the image to be in the same path. If you are not giving, suppose you can give it like this also, some path, right? Some HTTP link also that you can give, but I'm saying suppose you have given it like this, right? Correct. So what will happen is, first this is the HTML file that will go to the Chrome, and it will see okay, I have to show an image at this particular, not img, right? So after this, they have to show image, and this image is where in this particular source path. This source equal to ig means the same path. So it will look for a image also, ig.png. So as a server, you also need to send this ig.png to the client back, so that it has both this HTML file and this image file both. So you try to do this. Like if you go here and suppose maybe open anything.
Yeah, I think I got it. I mean, Amit, the Chrome browser is not just an HTTP client, but it is also an HTML parser.
Correct. It's not just a client.
Right? So for example, if I open some local file, and in that local index, local HTML file, suppose the PNG path cannot be found, it will tell you the PNG path cannot be found.
Yes, exactly. Whatever example you are giving is correct. So it's not just something that comes from the server. Even if you open from the local also, no, it will look for that particular file. Just write a simple HTML file in your local desktop only and try to open it.
Yeah, but Amit, from C++ server side, will we also parse the file and look for the links and then open those links also? And
that
how
was
does
my
it
question.
work?
Yeah. See, if you give that HTML file, it will see the image has to be there, this pl dot something or png. Then it will look for that ps path in that particular path and look for that png file. So as a server, you need to send that png file.
Yeah, so when we load the HTML file, that itself will do all these things and have a big binary file sending everything in place and sending it to the client, or you have to parse it and look for links and then load those files and like I'm not able to visualize this situation.
So you are saying if somebody send if somebody is sending that, suppose it should be like this. Suppose what I am my understanding is, so
Hmm.
suppose if somebody says slash tic tac toe, suppose they have sent something like this, right?
Yeah,
So I know ki when somebody is asking me for this, I need to send this image, this particular CSS file, or this particular JavaScript file together.
but it is embedded in as one binary file, or you have to send it like one. You open like from C++. I will open a file and I will take the contents and I will send it. I will open another file, take the contents and send it, or it is or
So
stuffed in one file and you it happens automatically.
I'll tell you. So there is a difference between how HTTP 1 or 1.1 protocol used to work. So suppose you have three different files that you have to send in one request. So one request came, and you know ki in this particular request you have to send CSS file also, image file also, and HTML file also. So
Right,
in HTTP 1.0, what used to happen is request has to come from the client only. Okay, I need HTML file, then I need this CSS file, and then I need this PNG file. Then only I will be able to know ki this whole thing I can render on the UI properly, right?
right,
but but from the HTTP 1.1 protocol, if you see what happens is there is a way to push the data directly from the server side without the request. So if something called suppose for the index.html, as a business logic, I know ki if they are require this HTML, they will also require this CSS file, this PNG file, and this JavaScript file. Then after sending this particular index.html, I can from my side only I can push the CSS file and PNG files, all everything,
okay, okay,
right? And
okay.
I'll show you this is there. So this is something called push from the server. Is it in 1.1 or 2? I didn't remember. 1 second.
So in 1.1, you're saying you only send the HTML file and the remaining dependent files, whether the script or the image, that client will
Hmm.
pull directly from the server.
Hmm. See,
Okay.
see one statement that I'll put it up here. So this is one difference between 1.1 and 2. See this. This and this. Can you see? Read it once.
Uh, are you saying that in 1.1,
Hmm.
supposing the client is requesting landing.html,
Hmm.
the server serves landing.html, it has two images. Now the
Hmm.
client browser will parse the HTML, it will come to img src, and then it will send again a request for that img.
Yes.
Is that what is
Yes.
going to
Yes.
happen in
Yes.
1.1?
If
Something like
if that's what I'm saying, just go and inspect any particular any particular, suppose I'm not sure whether it does in Google or not. If you go ahead and see the network, no, just
that.
remove
Okay,
it
yeah, yeah.
and
In develop.
you will see ki single request that goes. There will be many more requests that I want this particular image, I want this JavaScript, I want this. Even if you
I
come here and see, no, I'll show you one more thing. So if the moment the request that I've sent from the Chrome, remember, right now to my server,
Yeah,
see how many requests the Chrome has sent. I have just sent the IP address and 8080, and that's slash index.html, right? And see what how many requests this guy has sent me. So one is for 1 sec. Let me show it once more. Uh, Let me do this. I'll do this and send the request once more. I'm sent one request. That's what we think, right? You have sent one request. So see what will happen here from here. So the first request is for slash index.html. See, can you see? This is the
yeah,
first request. But
yeah.
if you see, there is one more request that has come that we have not sent. And what it is asking,
pig.png.
Yeah,
why it is
it's
asking for
asking
this?
it
Ah,
has
see,
you have
can you
embedded
see?
the Yeah.
Can you see? Did I anywhere send me a ig.png? See,
Yeah, I
this is
think
Chrome has done.
yeah.
But what is the
See,
header it used? Like it did it use slash users and then because you served that page index dot because it asked for index.
hmm.
Now what is the resource or
See,
URL it
this is
has?
the resource /ig.png. That's what I'm showing you.
Okay, but then you don't have the any function which serves this request, right? Like
I don't have. So that's why if I have particular ig.png, if I have to send this ig.png, that I have to know कि they will send this request again. In my current implementation right now, this won't be possible actually.
oh, okay, so it didn't serve that page,
It
that
didn't serve
image.
that page. Can you
It
see
serves the
anywhere
image. Yeah.
ig.png?
It
See.
shows
Can you
a
see here?
blank.
Can you see
Okay,
here?
yeah, okay, got it,
Right. And if you see one more, I think one more request will be there. See, the third request is also there. Can you see this one more request?
right.
This I did not send. This everyone Chrome asked for favorite icon dot ico. For what? For putting here. So if you see
Yeah,
no every other request,
Okay.
this particular thing, this Google what you are seeing, no, this is the favorite
right.
icon. So for any site, it sends this request. I want favorite icon. If so, because I don't have any favorite icon, see, it is not showing me this anything.
So
The
if you
default
had
value
just
it
put
is showing.
so if you had just put the implementation for
Huh.
slash and then whatever
See,
file
yeah,
name I get, I
correct.
look
So
for it and send it.
if I go here and do something like this here, example, HTTP server only, no, sorry, come out of build. Here, if I go here and do a get request of /favorite icon dot ico, and I send us some icon file back, you will start seeing this icon here.
No, not even that, right? You can just look for slash and then whatever it is, you treat it as a physical file and look for it.
Correct. Whatever
Yeah,
it is giving, I can send that particular file back. So if it sees that it is an icon file, it will start showing me here this particular thing. Right now, it is just giving some default value. Is this
correct.
understanding correct?
हाँ एकदम सही हो गया.
है ना? But if you see, no, that is in the HTTP 1.1 implementation. See, if you see here
How
also,
is
see
Google
again.
improving over this?
See again, if you see all the requests, I don't have not written that this. If you would have seen, no, it would have. I have not printed that thing. Let me print that also. One second. Go out of example inside. I'm printing inside HTTP server. HTTP server.cpp and on receive. I'm printing this, no. So I'll also print the cout HTTP receive data colon HTTP protocol. Let me print this also. Client state dot what was that? Client state. No, it will not show me here. One second. I just want to see what protocol it is sending me. So TCP server, it is here. So HTTP protocol, do I have HTTP version I have written? Okay. So I'll just print the HTTP version also here and client state dot HTTP version ending. Right. Let's see if it prints. Clear. I'll build it once again.
You have not put the output streams.
Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, this one.
And I posted a few questions on the chat. Can you please check them?
Sorry. Also, I think we are making HTTP as stateful here, storing the client socket info. Am I right? No, it's not stateful because I'm storing the client socket info. Stateful will only mean throughout the request I'm storing the data of that client. I'm not disconnecting it. I'll tell you what the stateful and stateless means. Right. Let me just first run it. So I have initialized, everything is running. Let me send the index.html again. Have I received the data? So let me see. See, can you see HTTP protocol? Which version? It is sending me in 1.1. Right? Everyone. So what I have told here, where I was writing. So HTTP 1, if you need images or anything, you need to request from the client side. But on HTTP 2, the thing has changed. You can push from the server side only. If you know if somebody has asked for suppose index.html, and I as a server I know with index.html you will need this image file, or also you will need this image file or CSS file. I can directly push it from the server side only instead of just waiting for the request from the client side. Getting my point? Cool. And also, if I have one more thing that I can show you, I have written one tic tac toe.html also that I want to show. See, then nothing but one HTML file in this implementation is written, so I can play this also, right?
Nice.
So player X wins. You guys, if you want, you can access it here right now. I'll put it on the chat and see if
Oh,
it is
nice.
working.
Oh, nice. Like this game you have did it, is it?
I've just copy pasted the code from somewhere. I put it in the HTML file. This tic tac toe game.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now
That
I'm audible, right?
yeah, you are audible. Yeah.
No, no. At that time, I have been trying. Now I just restarted my
Oh.
this one. That's
Now
it.
you are audible. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So
Okay,
can
fine.
you guys reach to this? Can you guys also access this IPs check? Right. So I can see who will be requesting. So if I see here, yeah, somebody is sending. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
I
see?
already played that game and pasted on Discord.
Sorry. What?
I played that game Tic Tac Toe from your server and
Uh,
I pasted that on Discord.
oh, nice, nice. See, I am getting all for who all are requesting. I'm getting. Come on, one request more. See, somebody connected again. Right. So fine. Right. Good. So yeah, only thing I'll discuss for today and then I'll wrap up is stateless and stateful. Somebody was asking. So what will happen is stateful and stateless differences in HTTP request and response. Once request has gone to the server and server has responded with something, as a protocol, what it says is you disconnect. You'll call the close socket wala call. So it means there is no connection after that. Socket is deleted, right? And that is called stateless protocol. So next time you have to send the request, you again have to create the socket connection. Those TCP handshake will happen, everything. While stateful, what will happen is if I have made my HTTP connection as stateful, what will happen? I have sent the request, I have got the response, but I'll not close the socket. If I have to send a request from the same client to the server again, I'll use the same socket. So what will happen? What good thing is happening in that case is I'm not going through the TCP handshake again and again. If I'm keeping my connection alive, right? I'm getting a lot of requests. Please don't spam because it's a simple T2.micro machine, so you might also get the lag also. Okay, so have you got the difference between stateful and stateless protocol? So HTTP, when it was made earlier, it was made as a stateless protocol only. So once I have got the response, it just closes the socket. So if the second time you have to send the request again, it again creates the socket again, go through the TCP handshake, and then it sends the request and response again. But now with HTTP 1.1 and all, you can send a header saying, I want to keep the connection alive. So connection keep alive. If I can show you, it might be coming here also. Connection keep alive.
Are we handling it at our code side?
Sorry. Sorry, come again. Your voice is actually not proper. Yeah, so if the connection is keep alive, that close socket thing API call will not happen. It will keep the socket there. So if you have to send the request again, it will use that socket again. So it will not go through those TCP handshake again, right? So it will be faster. Correct? But only cons is you will be keeping that socket alive means on the server side, there will be a lot of load. If more clients connect and everyone is keeping their connection alive, it means you are not freeing the memory. So your memory and CPU, everything will start getting increasing, right? So that is one cons. Okay, so I'll be wrapping this for today. I don't know if this is not interesting, what is. So I would urge everyone to just go and try to implement this HTTP server the way you like. You might go and write a simple code only to implement this HTTP server. I have done it my way. You can do it your way, but you can see the code as a reference. It is on GitHub. You can see it and try to implement it. This will be a very good project also if you want.
I mean,
Right?
I have
Yeah.
a few things here.
Your voice is, I can hear you, but your voice is not clear. I cannot understand you.
I think we share the chat.
Yeah, you can put it in the chat. I am seeing the chat now.
Amit, I had one question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think
Can you mute who's I'm getting
no,
yeah,
actually, I am talking. I don't know some other.
Yeah, some other guy who
Okay,
he's
okay.
muted now. Tell me.
Yeah. Actually, it's okay. I had one thing, but you told you have not written more error handling, but some error handling is already done, because what I saw is you have that get, post, and other things. If none of them, then you are, I think, just sending the 404 or something.
Yeah. It
You
is
have
there.
a map, all those things. If that none of the map goes inside, right? The finder, whatever
Yeah,
is
yeah.
there, I think some of the things you have already, I think, added up.
Yeah, whatever. I see. I have coded this whole thing, and I think one day sitting for 3-4 hours I sat and I've coded. So I'm not sure
Great.
what thing I've done and what not I've done.
That's,
So why I'm saying this is, don't take it as something ki this is production ready code is what I'm saying. But
yeah.
whatever I've tried to do everything, but there might be some things missing here and there. So that's what I'm saying. Like
Okay.
if you take it to somewhere and then if something doesn't run, then you'll don't blame me.
No. But how you have designed is also very good. Even
Yeah.
I can, something I can relate with, some JavaScript,
The way I have thought
Ajax,
and designed
all
is,
those things you have.
yeah. The way
Something
I
like
have
that.
thought and designed is the way other production ready people use libraries. That way I've tried to design.
Yeah.
How it is designed in production, that way only is.
Yeah. And I had one more doubt actually, like, even the socket, right? As you told, we can even send the image, right? Apart from a plain text request, but that has to be put into a binary format. Actually, what I'm telling is, like, request itself can be an image or some other
Request
thing.
can be an image. What do you mean? You are telling inside the body you are sending image.
Yeah. Is that
Means suppose upload feature you have given, right? From upload you are sending some image as a request to the server side to upload the data, right? That thing
yeah,
so is the real use case. Yeah.
yeah,
So
but
tell me.
yeah, but in that case, the only thing is, apart from the image, we may also add to do some additional information such that it should understand that it's actually an image, but not a text or a
Correct.
video kind of a thing.
Yeah. So if you see here, no, one second. Sainath, I will answer you. I've seen your question. Please don't go. I'll answer you. So if you see here where I'm setting it, one second, I'll tell you. HTTP request.cpp. Oh no, sorry, not here. Let me see this code. So I am telling what is my content type that I have to send as a header, basically.
Oh, correct. Yeah,
So
right.
as a header, now you have to send that to each other party, so that other understand what kind of data you are sending.
That I understood. That could be either a text / HTML something, and all will
See.
come. Correct.
So what I'm doing here is, suppose I'm trying to send .html file. So I have made a map. If it is, I'm checking the extension of the file. And if it is .html, I'll send content type text/html. If it is CS, text/cs. If it is PNG file, image/png. So that you have to send in the header. If
Yeah,
you
that's great.
no,
Yeah.
it will be there in the HTTP header.
Yes. Yeah, this correct.
So I am doing this. Right. Okay. Yeah, so when I'm sending this text.html file, this image tic-tac-toe HTML or index.html, In that case, I'm setting my header also. So see, if you see here where I'm using this here. So I'm using this, remember, res.send file I was doing. Inside that, I'm adding header content type as get content type ka. What is kind of content type is there? If it HTML, text slash HTML, it will go in the header. So my client will know, oh, okay, this is the some HTML file. So it will try to parse it as a HTML file, right?
Correct. But one a small doubt. Okay. You are also sending the file content itself, right? So that's why it knows that. Is there any like it's a decoding logic and all those things has to be there on the server side to get the, or this is done by the browser only?
No, you are talking about the first. Where are you talking about? On the server side, file has come, or on the client side, file has come?
Like the client has sent some file to the server.
So, okay, so on the server side, it has come.
Yeah.
Right. So on the server side, first, so I will know from the header ki which type of content is this, right? And where the content will be in my body. And I'll know the length also through content length, because if you are sending the body, I have to know the content length.
Yeah, correct.
Right. And then at the end, it is the data, binary data only, that I will accumulate. And I know it is PNG file from the header. I will mark it as image.png and I'll store it somewhere.
Yeah, I understood, but still I have one small doubt. See, you can send the content length, but actually when we say about the image, it has a width and height and all those things. No, how those things it can exactly show it? That's
So
not.
those things are not the part of HTTP. Those things are part of some process or some app logic that is trying to parse your image file. So that will, so suppose it is, if it is a PNG file, no, if you go ahead and look how PNG file looks like, you will see there will be some headers and all in the PNG file. It's not like only the image data is there. PNG file will have some headers first. Header will tell you what is the width is there, what is the height is there. Every information will be there inside the PNG file only.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
PNG file process will try know how to parse that data.
Exactly. Okay, inside its headers itself, it will have all the information about the
Yes.
width, height, and what
Yeah.
kind of an image, what BPP or whatever the thing. Bits
Correct.
per
So that
pixel and
what
all
I'm
those.
saying is that is not, the logic should not be there for the server. That is should be for a separate logic for the PNG parsing and all.
Correct. Understood.
Okay, I'm just reading a question for Sainath. So does anyone want to answer this? How to make TCP server run on multiple ports and redirect the request to that specific port or service process? Like I want to enable HTTP on the same underlying, how we are closing the socket. Are we handling at code side? Yes. Closing the socket first. The second part of your question, that you have to handle. You have to call the API close and the socket. That's you have to decide when do you want to close. So suppose on the client, if the header has come keep alive, so you will not close the connection. But if you want to keep it your stateless server, right, HTTP server, so the once you have sent the response has sent, you just say close the socket, client socket, right? The first part of your question is how to run TCP server on multiple ports. So yeah, you can create multiple FDs, so like how we are creating here, no, lin.cpp. If we are creating this particular socket, we are creating, right? Where we are this socket, the way we are creating this socket, no? So suppose this particular socket will, suppose you want to create three kinds of server, like FTP server, HTTP server, and suppose one more server, right? So on this, you will have to create three different types of sockets. Same API three times. One you will reserve for FTP socket, one will reserve for the HTTP server socket. And then what will happen is, here when you are binding it, see, this is bind with the port, right? You bind with this particular FD with the port. So suppose on HTTP server, you want to bind with 8,000. So that FD you will bind with the 8,000 ka port. So suppose you will have FTP server that you want to run on, I don't know, FTP server runs on what? 20 port. Which port? 22. 22 is for SSH, right?
No, I think 21, right? Or something.
Whatever it is. So you want to run FTP server on 22 port, suppose. So you will bind that FTP wala that you have created to the 22 ka port. The same you will bind call again. and then you will do a accept, right? And once you do so you will have three different accept. One will be accepting for HTTP server request, one will be accepting for FTP ka request. So suppose as a client I want to connect to your server as a FTP, so he will give mention the port also. I want to connect to this particular server on this port. So if it comes to that port, your particular that FD will be on that FD accept it will come. Are you getting the logic? How is it differentiated? If it is for server, it will come to that particular accept. HTTP server ka accept wala logic it will come, and then we'll have different logic for each one of them, right? That way can do. So one your same process is actually running three different servers. So each of them can be doing accept on three different threads. Suppose like that. So one thread is doing accept for server, one thread is doing accept for FTP server, and another thread is doing for some other server. So that way you can do. But yeah, it is possible.
Actually, Amit, I have one more doubt. Okay, usually, as you told, correct, each a server can listen, actually can listen on multiple ports, but those ports are for a different purposes, for the different interfaces, it could be HTTP, HTTPS, or some like UDP or whatever the thing, right? Is there anything? But I do not see anything, or is it okay? May not be good also. My question is, okay, for a single one, let us say for a TCP only, can a server establish two different ports on which it can just listen to a single single kind of a protocol? Usually that is not a correct one, right?
You can as a theory you can, but what you are trying to achieve here? Are you trying to have two different HTTP servers? Is it like this?
No, single HTTP server only.
No, single HTTP server, but on two different ports, right?
On different ports.
Yeah. So suppose something like this. So suppose one server is 8,000 ports, some other server is on 8,002 port also running, right?
Correct.
So in that way, that is also you can do. What is the problem? Coding wise, there is no problem. I'm not sure what you want to achieve, but yes, you can do this also.
Yeah, but then what happens is, the client can, tries to broadcast, means, it wants to, it wants its request to be served as fast, and so it can send to the two different actually ports, its same request or something like that.
No,
That
then
is
you
not
don't.
possible, right?
If you want to do like this, you don't want to have two different server ports. What you want is to have two different connections with the same server. So I will tell you what you are trying to achieve. I will tell you. I understood your problem.
Yeah.
So if you go to TCP client, no, not here. Say example, client.cpp, right? Inside this, what I'm trying to do here is I'm creating one client, and then I'm trying to start the connection on the server with this particular. So when I'm creating a client means what? I'm creating one socket and doing the connect, right? But if I
Yes.
want more speed, what I can do also is I can create one more socket from the client side only, and then connect to the same server, and then send some data from this particular socket, send some data from this socket. So parallelly you are sending from two different sockets, but both are connected to the same server socket.
Okay,
But
understood.
see,
But that, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
please.
tell me.
Yeah, but in
So
that case,
what I'm saying is the sockets, one socket is, that's what I said. One socket you send and receive. If you create a different socket, it will have its own buffer and everything. So you can do the same thing on different sockets also. You can create as many sockets as you want. Depends on what your logic is.
okay,
It's not like I am just one client, I'll create one socket only.
Okay, I understood, but that's a good one. Thanks. But then I had one more thing. It's the same thing, but then those two sockets what I create, right? Okay, they should serve two different purposes, right? Not like a same purpose split into two things, and I am sending. Then I don't know, what order I will we will get it in the
But you
Bro.
see, if you are creating your own client, see, you can do something like this. So suppose for the same server, I want to send some file, and then I want to send some other request to that same server, and those two things can happen parallelly. Suppose you have a website where
Yes.
one is UI and other is some other JavaScript that has to run. So you can create two sockets for the same server. In one socket, you can take you want the response for that UI to be shown, and in one response, you want some JavaScript that has to be run, and those two are independent. If they don't have to do anything with each other, in that case, you can do, right?
Yeah. Correct.
And it will become parallel, more faster.
Yeah.
And
Right.
this is actually this concept happens, like people use this concept. So there is a concept called channel, not something for this is some higher level concept, channel, where what happens is each channel can contain multiple connections. And when I say connection, means multiple sockets.
Yeah.
So what I do is when I create a create some create so what happens is, instead of creating a channel, I say, as a logically, I say I create a channel with that particular server. And when I say channel, I mean I'm predefining, I'm pre-creating some four number of connections, suppose four different sockets, right? And suppose
Yeah.
in trying to send in one socket, if somehow that connection get closed somehow, but my other connections are still there, and I can use that connection to send the data. So that people use this kind of logic also. Getting my point? To make
Yeah.
things faster.
Correct. It is like, those things should be independent and they should not have, any kind of
Huh.
dependency. So, let us say, we have already did some, okay, matrix multiplication and matrix sorting, this one, the data sorting and all parallel, right? So,
Huh.
assume that, we don't have a computation in ours and we are relying actually on the server, and we will get the data, and the server, makes those things, and it will actually return. So
Yeah.
we can send a chunks of data to the
In one
different
socket,
sockets.
other chunk in other socket, other chunk in other socket, like that you can do.
Yeah.
You can. Actually, it is done. I'm telling you, it is done. I've seen that happening. People
Okay.
so in one of the companies, our concept was like that. Instead of creating connection, we used to create channels and pre-built like 2, 3 connections we'll create, not just one connection with the server. So that even if one connection goes down, means in one socket, if it goes down somehow, some error comes, I can use the other connection with that server to send the data.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. A lot of discussions, but discussions will be great if you guys also try something. I mean, Rama has tried. I'm very happy that at least someone is trying to write some code. Yeah. So let's wrap up for today. We'll meet tomorrow and we'll look at little bit more on the theory side of HTTP, like how HTTP 1.1, what is happening, 2, what is happening, and then HTTP 3 also what is happening. So this is very useful. Like in the real use cases, this is very good to know what is actually happening, and I will show you some glimpses of code that what code that you can write to make it like HTTP 2 compliant, right? And if time permits, we can even see how we can implement HTTPS on top of HTTP, right? So on all modern browsers and all modern servers doesn't really work on HTTP, right? It has to be HTTPS to make it more secure. So I would like to see if we can, time permits, I can also go through HTTPS tomorrow, how we can implement it in our code, right? Fine. And this will be important. HTTPS is important. So, without HTTPS, you cannot just run your server. It is not secure. Everything will be plain text. Anyone can see it, right? Okay, so wrapping it for today. I hope to see you all tomorrow. Please come on the class. Need to have good discussions. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye,
Okay. Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.